Hello everyone, it's teacher Teresa here from SparkJoy. I wanted to create this video to go over some commonly asked questions to avoid redundancy and help myself not have to answer the same questions all the time. So I want to start with taking you into our spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is perhaps the most important place that you're going to go to get information for SparkJoy. So I'm going to screen share that here. Now, right from the top, you're going to see that there are notes here. And you'll notice that if you have a pre-K kiddo, it's going to mention that I am the teacher for pre-K. And then if you have a middle school kiddo, that's it says Miss Megan. Oh, that's talking about history. Okay. Miss Patricia is the teacher for middle school. Her name is missing from there. I'm going to add that now. So Miss Patricia is our middle school and high school science teacher. Okay, so she's going to cover those guys, and I'm going to cover pre-K, and Miss Megan is covering upper elementary. So what this means is when you first come to science class, we're going to break down into those three groups, and your elementary and your preschool are going to get an introduction to the topic that we're covering for the day. And then we will break down into small groups and they'll rotate through stations. Now, preschool, some of the stations are not appropriate for their age level. In the case where that happens, they'll stay with me and we'll do an alternate activity. But if the stations are pre-K friendly, they will rotate just like regular elementary. Middle school and high school, on the other hand, they're going to stay in their same group. They're not going to rotate through those stations because that content is below their age and ability. Miss Patricia will have activities there at their station for them. Okay, we have robotics this year. Right now, there are 4 kids on the team. The robotics program does come with an additional cost. We have to travel to competitions. That's mandatory based on the grant that has been provided to Jackson Area Robotics. Jackson Area Robotics is providing all of the equipment for our robotics program. And as part of the grant that they have for that equipment, we must offer competitive robotics, which means we have to go to at least 2 competitions a year. And if the students were to win the competition, then we have to go to the next level of competition. So for example, we're going to be competing here in Jackson at the Union University's local robotics competition. If they were to win that, then we would have to go to state, which will be in either Nashville or Memphis. And if they win that, then we have to go to nationals. And this year, I think she said that's in Kentucky. It was either Kentucky or Kansas, but either way, we would have to go to one of those 2 states. Sometimes it's been as far away as another country because it is the state one is in our state. The national one is in our nation. And then there is a global competition. So that is why there is a cost attached to robotics. The first competition for this year is actually only $67 per team member. And then in addition to that, we also have a registration fee just for being a part of VEX Robotics. The team has to pay, I think it was around $200 or $250 to be a part of VEX Robotics just in general. Okay, and then we have Curiosity Untamed. This is probably one of my favorite things. I've been doing this with my family for years. And Miss Megan said, why don't you make that part of co-op? So we're going to do that this year. If you get a chance to go over and visit the Curiosity Untamed website, I really encourage you to do that. You'll see if you go there, well, that's going to take a bit to load, so I'll come back to it. But if you go to their website and you, oh, it did, and you click on resources, that's going to do it. And you'll see that there's printable certificates for your students, there's binder covers, there's quests that you can do. Now, I'm going to log in because the badges and awards, I don't think they display unless you're logged in. So I am the only one with a login because I'm paying for membership. Of course, you guys could too. Oh, I'm on the wrong browser. I'm going to pause this for a sec. Hang on. I apologize for the break there. I had to go look up my password because I usually use Internet Explorer, but my browser, Internet Explorer, is out of date and needs updated. So I've been using Firefox lately, and I don't have the login credentials saved on Firefox. So I had to look those up, and then I can now go here to badges. And there are all different kinds of things that you can choose from. And it's all different educational things, everything from like baking to science to history to math, whatever it is educational wise that your student is interested in. I mean, they even have fairies, and there's one on bubbles too for like the littles. My kids love the bubble study. You pick the topic that you want to study as a family, and then at the end of the quarter, we'll have a badge ceremony where we will award the badges to your students. So if you want to do that, then you need to let me know. So that way I can get you the content that goes along with the topic that you've chosen. And then I can order the badges if you want badges and present them to your kiddos. You'll pay for the badges. I will order them though, because I have an account, and I have a military discount for this account, which of course you got, unless you're actually in the military, you wouldn't be able to get that discount. And the family membership is not cheap. I will be honest and upfront with you about that. If you decide to go and endeavor on buying this for yourself, it's not cheap. But I'm going to click on one at random so you kind of see what this is about. I'm going to pick a science one since that's our like main area here. Let's see. Here's biology. So you'll see it's broken down into levels, and each level has a slightly more difficult challenge that they would do to earn that badge. Now, if you have a student that does biology this year, and then they want to study it more in depth later at another year, you can certainly order the next badge up, and then they can have done the yellow badge. They can have done the green badge. They can have all the badges for biology, whatever. And then here, it tells you what they want to do. Understand what the study of biology is. Learn about the life cycle of a frog. Visit a pond. Look at pictures online if you can't visit a pond. Now, as you get to level 1, it wants you to do the preschool requirements and additional requirements. And then it just continues to grow. And as you get all the way to like level 5, they're going to teach someone how to do a skill related to this topic. And then there are other additional optional things that you as the parent can decide if you want to make your kid go even a little bit further in depth, especially if they're like a high school student. And then you said, okay, you completed that, let me know, and I will come here to the store. And I can purchase the badges. And there they are. So there are, as you can see, there's a lot to choose from. There's over 1,000 badges that your student can explore. And I can just buy whatever it is related to what you chose to study for the quarter. And then the next quarter, you would pick something else. So you only have to do, even if you participated in the whole program for the whole year, you would only need to do 4 challenges. I think this year I'm giving my kids the archery badge. All right, let's see. Family book club. This is new this year. This is the first time we're doing book club, and we had an informational meeting about it in August, and a few families did make it. We had some that did not. There are currently 20 students in book club. It is closed for the year, but I'm going to share about it just in case anybody wants to join next year, or if we have a family drop off before like Christmas semester and somebody wants to join and replace them later in the season. But for right now, book club is closed to membership. We have 20 students in that program, and that is more than enough for what we're doing. All right, so here's how book club works. It just says right here, a family reads a book relevant to the theme and presents a book talk. So every month has a different theme attached to it, and every single student in the class will present a book talk based on the book that they read. This is great because every student's reading something different, or even if we had 2 students who read the same book, that would be okay. But the general idea is that they're all hearing information about different kinds of stories that they might want to look into and read later, and that they're getting that public speaking practice. And then after the book talks are over, there's a craft, and each family takes a turn presenting a craft. So each family is assigned a month, and then they'll present the craft for their month and for all 20 kids. That's very, very simple. Library is holding ASL. Unfortunately, Miss Cheyenne, the ASL instructor, is moving to Mississippi. So September, we will still be meeting for ASL. But then from October through January, there will not be any ASL classes because Cheyenne is moving. And then they'll pick back up in January after the new year when the new hire takes that job. Let's see. Forest School meets on Thursdays from September through May. Normally it's at Thursdays at noon, but if it's extremely cold out, we'll meet a little early, a little later in the day to take advantage of that higher temperature that comes in the middle of the day. And sometimes in the spring, if it's really too hot, we'll meet a little earlier. So sometimes we bump it to like 11 if the weather is just crazy hot. But if it's extreme weather, like if there's crazy snowstorms, or if it's thundering and lightning, or if there's a potential tornado warning, then Forest Club will not meet at all. And that goes for like extreme heat too. So if like the heat index is out of control, Forest School will be closed. But we do meet on like light rainy days or light snowy days where the weather's not dangerous for you to drive there or for your children to be in the woods. We would never want to have a program that puts you or your kids at risk of any harm. So that's why Forest Club only meets when the weather is fair. Forest Club is a pretty easy program. You just hike in to the forest. And when I say hike, I use that word loosely because it's really more of a nature walk. We're not doing strenuous activity here. Most of the students are very young. Forest School tends to draw a crowd of about ages 3 to about 10 or 12 at the most. We don't have that many teens who come to Forest School. And those who do, I encourage them to take a day where they want to teach Forest School. I think that would be great if some of our teenagers would take that on. Predominantly right now, Miss Megan and I have been teaching Forest School, but we will have a new teacher taking over it very soon. Miss Jasmine has joined us. She left Ridgecrest and came on over to us, and she'll be our new Forest School teacher. And she has a very woodsy background, so it's going to be a really good fit for her to take over that program. Forest School meetups, signups are different locations. So it's very important to make sure that you're paying very close attention to that Forest School sign up link. You're going to go there to sign up Genius. You have to sign up every week. It is mandatory. And that's because that's the only way the teacher teaching knows how many students are going to be at craft. And second, our insurance actually requires us to have the sign up with the waiver for every single hike. Whereas with all the other and archery too, we have to have the waiver for archery for every single event because those are high risk activities according to the insurance. Personally, I don't think hiking in the nature walks that we go on are high risk, but the insurance company thinks that they are. So for that reason, we do have to have the waiver every single time. So you'll see on Sign Up Genius, if you go to the Forest School page and you sign up for a hike, that you're agreeing to the waiver every single week that you hike. The locations that we hike are Union Trail. And when we do Union, we meet at the big bubble letter sign, the big Union sign. You can park next to Providence Hall. It's an easy walk to the sign from there. Then we do have to cross over the main road. That's the only downside to hiking Union Trail, is getting our littles across the street. So you always want to make sure that you really got a tight hold on your kiddos for that. And I totally encourage baby wearing for all of the hikes, in fact, but most particularly, definitely for this one. We don't want wibbly wobbly kiddos trying to walk across that road. It's just not safe. Then we also hike Chigga Ridge, which is just slightly past Walmart if you're heading towards Henderson, the South Jackson Walmart. You're a little bit past it, maybe about 10 minutes past it. There's a white sign that says Chigga Ridge, and there's a big pond there. It's a really nice hike. We don't hike very far in when we do Chigga Ridge because we usually spend some pond time. Then we also hike Pewborn Park, which is out in Oakfield. So that one's a little bit further away than the rest, but we do that. And about once a year, we hike Pinson Mounds. That one is stroller friendly, but it is a longer walk too. We'd usually do that around Archaeo Fest. ArchaeoFest used to be in September, but they moved it to April this year. So watch for that one. Once they announce the ArchaeoFest dates, I'll add a Pinson Mountains hike. Right now, it's not on the schedule because I don't know when that's going to be. I already talked about science classes, so I'm going to skip on over that and come down to history class. History class is probably one of my favorite classes. So this used to only be for our K to 5 kiddos, but this year Miss Megan's adding an element for middle and high so that they can come to class too. So what's going to happen here is Miss Megan or I will be teaching the class for the day. And I do the ones at Ridgecrest, and she does the ones that will be at Brown's Church or in Heather Place Park or in Miss Emily's house, because Miss Emily has cordially agreed to take over the winter ones, and I really thank her very much for that. So shout out, Miss Emily. Thank you for agreeing to host those hideaways in history in the winter time. So history is my big box trailer is full of cardboard. So they learn about a historical event and then they build structures related to that. And then I'm not sure what Miss Megan has in store for our middle and high, because that's new, but she's adding stuff that are geared, activities that are geared to them. Whereas, you know, building stuff to play in is geared towards those littles. But that's really why I love the history. I love immersing kids in an experience so that they can live the history and understand it at a level that's much deeper than they would get from just books. Our history books are literally random library books that we picked related to the topics. And then we do have field trips that are open to the public and field trips that are closed to the public. So if you look at here at the power plant field trip, you'll notice that it says the sign up link is not here because this event is only for members of the Friday science class. And actually, I don't like that that's stretching over 2 boxes. So forgive me here as I just adjust that. Personal preference, it drives me crazy. So there's no link there because, all right, art with Miss Jamie. Every month there's an art class and the sign up link is there. Art class is open to the public, but Miss Jamie has asked that we keep that sign up to a maximum of 20 kids. We did originally have it at 25, but she's asked that I change that to 20. She felt a little bit overwhelmed with the 25 this week. So we're going to curb that to 20. So because it's curbed to 20 and there's already 22 kids in SparkJoy's regular members, it'll open to them first and then any leftover spaces will go to the public. So yes, the link is there, but you won't see the initial week until after my SparkJoy members have seen it. So they're going to get that first dibs. I know there's one more Ridgecrest program I want to talk about. I'm trying to find a day because it's only once a quarter. There's a Ridgecrest history program called Draw Right Now. There it is. I'll be teaching this. There's actually a textbook that goes with this, and there is a little art draw along, and then there's a blurb that's a historically related thing. And then I will borrow a book from the library to go along with that historical topic. So this is art and history together. This won't take very long, maybe about 30 minutes. And I know the time's a little weird, 1:15, but that was the time that Ridgecrest has their art class. So that's why it's scheduled like it is. And this will only be once a quarter. And I think that's it. Yeah. So we're going to jump down into some big field trips that are coming up. That's it for content. The Nina Pinta tour and the Chattanooga Aquarium are on the same day because they're only a 5-minute distance from each other. And the Nina Pinta tour is only about a 30-minute tour. And you spend 15 minutes or so on each boat. And that one's going to be $6 a person as long as we have a group of 15 or more. If we have less than 15 kids signed up for this event, they will either charge us regular admission, or if there's another homeschool group touring that day, they'll put us in with them so that we can keep that 6. So we have to play that one kind of by ear a little bit, but I'm hoping we'll hit that 15 and that we'll be able to do the $6 per person. Normally, if we have a big trip like this, Ridgecrest would come along to give us that boost in numbers that we need to see, but they're getting close to fall break at that time, so they most likely will not be joining us for that trip. So we're kind of on our own to make to meet that 15th. And let's see. Winter break is really long. We don't meet from December to January 4, December 14th to January 4, and there's no field trips in December. January, historically, Discovery Park has had a free month, or even sometimes it's a little less, but it's usually like a month. That's the whole month of January is usually free. So if it is, we'll go there for a field trip, and Ridgecrest would go along with us too. If it's not, because it's not a big museum, it's not a place that most of these kids haven't been before, we'll look at other options, but that's the plan right now. February and March, those field trips aren't solidified because I'm waiting on a phone call back from the Jackson, Maine post office to see whether or not we can tour there. They used to have homeschool tours, but they stopped after COVID, and the Postmaster General's not sure if she's allowed to do them again or not. So she's waiting for information from above her so that she can let us know if we can come. If we can come, that trip will either be February 20th or March 20th, and we'll put something else in place of whichever day they don't pick. So I'm not fully planned on February and March at this time. We do have a recycling center trip in February, and that will not be open to the public because Ridgecrest is coming along, and so we'll already have a very large class with our class and their class together. Let's get down to April. April spring break is going to be about a week and a half from March 23rd to April 6th. We're going to Lone Oaks Farm in April. I don't have the sign up link yet because it's really far away, but there will be one there for that. And that will be open to the public because they can support a large number of students. These dates, usually we don't schedule anything except for a field day with Ridgecrest, and I'll know later what day field day is going to be. Also, usually on at least one or two Wednesdays in March and April, May, I try to schedule some volunteer time at RIFA, because they do a spring vegetable delivery program to senior citizens, and the seniors really appreciate seeing the kids. It really brightens their day. So I think that community service element is important to instill in our kids, and RIFA is a really great organization. So I like putting the effort of community service into RIFA. Also, I'll be picking up some school buses that your kiddos can stuff, their little banks that you can stuff money into to give to RIFA if you'd like. Not required of anybody at all, but it is an option that you'll be provided starting next week, because I picked them up on Tuesday. Let's see. May, science, for school, history, book club. I do plan to do a book club party of some kind at the end of the year. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet, and we'll talk about it as a group of book club members, but we'll plan something. And the Children's Business Fair. Oh, I missed that for November too. November the 1st, there is a Children's Business Fair at the Jackson Market. That's the one in town. It's the West Tennessee Farmers Market. It's by Starbucks and adjacent the street that you would take to go to the library. I want to say that's North Highland, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do know it's adjacent to Starbucks and adjacent Grubbs Market. So if you know where that area is, that's the farmers market. And if you go through the building to the end, there's like a small parking kind of area, and that's where they'll be putting the children and their booths, and I'll be down there. We already have 10 kids signed up, but if you have a kiddo who likes to sell stuff, that's a really great opportunity. So that's on November the 1st, and then we'll have another one in May. Right now the date says May 23rd, but that's just a placeholder. It'll be dependent on JCT's schedule, because whatever JCT's last week of school is, we'll do it that Saturday after. So that way their students are already out of the building and the building's already cleaned and back to normal. So that way it's just not the crazy, unclean public school environment that happens at the end of the school year. Because if you've never been in a public school at the end of the year, they tend to get pretty messy because kids just leave papers everybody. Everybody's all excited. Whoa! But we'll clean that up. Where the janitors will clean that up, and it'll be pretty and shiny again. And we'll have a really nice business fair, just like we did last year. If you got a chance to come to it, it was really great. And I was very happy with the venue location. And Mr. Walker really went out of his way to make sure that it was great. And the fire department came. A couple of policemen tried to come, but then they had a call and they couldn't even make it into the building before their radios went off. So that was a shame. But overall, it was a really great event. And I look forward to doing that one again. Okay, I want to cover some of these tabs down here at the bottom. You've got the field trip idea list. So this is already a pretty long list of places that either other moms have told me they'd like to go, or I've seen other organizations go to, or they're places that a friend or somebody mentioned and said, hey, this is somewhere you might want to go. Feel free to type into the form places you want to go. Don't feel like you can't, or share them with me and I'll put them in on the list, because that's what this is for. This is the idea generation form. And then these past events, I ask that you don't change those. These are things that we already did in the past. The entire biology curriculum is here. Everything that we did from the last 2 years is saved and archived. And I did that so that if we ever cycle back and we want to do something over again, we don't have to go back and recreate those lesson plans or relocate the locations that we went or any of those things. Nothing has to be done twice. It's already just done once and we just go and we get those. And then way over here, I just have extra lesson plan ideas that we didn't get to because either weather got involved or we just had too many or whatever reason, ideas to save for later that either I thought we didn't have time for, weather canceled them, or something cool that I saw but wasn't in the lesson plan and I just stuck it over there. So I hope that helps. The sign-up links are pretty important. Supplies, that should be pretty common sense that you need to bring supplies. The stuff that's in purple is stuff that I am personally paying for and providing or already have. If it's in red, then that's the family's responsibility to bring that. Now, your journals are required to be with the student every week. You can either leave them with me or you can bring them back and forth. I actually encourage you to leave them with me so you don't have to worry about not having your journal because it'll already just be at co-op. That's my encouragement for that. And these supplies are not being paid for by SparkJoy. I pay for them personally. And then suggested homework. If you're following the curriculum regularly each week, I strongly encourage you to do the homework. If you don't know where the textbooks are, those are in the Facebook group. But you have to be a regular member of co-op to have access to the private Facebook group. You must also have a background check because I post a lot of photos of the kiddos there, and just for safety reasons, that group, you must have the background check complete in order to be in it. All right, so let me go to SparkJoy Homeschool Co-op's private group just for a sec. Maybe. There it is. Okay. So if you go here to files, you can see there's our membership agreement, but I do have a digital form for that now. So if you want to do the paper one, it's there. If you want to do the digital one and you have not done one already, just let me know. I'd be happy to send that to you. Grammar stage lap booking templates. That's stuff that you need for the homework if you're going to do the homework at home. Coloring pages. There's for your preschoolers so that they have something that they can do. The logic stage student guide. That is for our middle and high school. Logic stage teacher book. That's for our middle and high school. The elementary school book was too large to upload to the files, so you do have to go to the discussion area and you should be able to search it. I think it's physics for the grammar stage teacher book. And it is. So if you type that into the search, it'll bring you to that file and it is then downloadable that way. Because you can go to the Google Drive, you can download it, it's open, it's set so that anybody can access it. Now, it's going to say that you're viewer only, and that's true. You can't edit the file, but you can download it. So go ahead and download that and print it out for your kiddos, or you can if you don't want to print out the whole teacher book, you can just, keep it on your desktop and you can hit Control Find and go easily through the document. I have both. I have the paper version and the digital version, and I like both for different reasons. It's nice to have the paper one in front of me when I'm actually working with my kiddos at home, and it's nice to have the digital one when I'm just sifting through the text for stuff for me myself as the adult teaching. I hope that really covers most everything. I guess the only thing I didn't hit was background checks. If you don't already have a background check complete, you cannot join the private group simply because of all the photos that are in here and the protection of our kids. The background check form is through the state of Tennessee, and currently it's $29 to do the background check. They do those manually, so sometimes it takes like a week or two from the time that you submit it to get it back. And if you just let me know that you submitted it, then you'll be able to join SparkJoy as a regular member while we're pending that background check. That's okay. I have no control over the background checks. They're done by the state of Tennessee. And the link for that is in the membership form. So if you go to the background check area of our membership form, you click that external link, you can open it in another tab, and then you can just go ahead and continue filling out the rest of the membership form and then go on over to that other tab and finish and do your background check. I hope that covers any questions that anybody might have about how SparkJoy works. If you do have any other questions, if there's anything that I didn't cover here that you're still a little unsure about, please feel free to ask. But this was a pretty in-depth video. I'll see you guys in the classroom.